how would you explain for anyone like doesn't know what you do, how would you explain what you do creatively or like as an artist? How would you explain your craft?
So I'm a songwriter and a filmmaker. And a few years ago, I had this idea. I wanted to write a song on every continent in the world with locals in each location. I just love traveling over the years and I love songwriting. So I put them together. Um, Long story short, I just had opportunities to film for some instrument companies and headphone companies and guitar companies and speaker companies, and that kind of led down the path of creating content for those companies. And I wanted to take all this knowledge that I had learned, take all these skills, and put them together. So I went down this path of writing a song on each continent, and I finished that. My hope was to sell that, to distribute that through Netflix or Amazon.
Yeah.
That never happened, so I put it on YouTube,
Mhm.
and once it was on YouTube, I was like, I really just wanna continue down this path of creating more, uh, documentaries. I call them they're 30-minute episodes to 40-minute episodes in each country, and, that's very different than the short form that you're creating for TikTok, I think, and Instagram. But for me, I love the long form story and I love going deeper into the cultures. And so once I saw those 7 episodes up online, I was like, man, I really want to do this like full time. How is this possible? Because I don't have sponsors. So I just chip away at it. And this year I worked, I saved money from playing live shows, from doing film gigs, and then I just take off on an adventure. And my hope is over time that it grows, or that a sponsor comes into place. But I'm more concerned of I need to do it now than what is the monetary benefit to this,
Sure.
rather than hey, this is my dream and this is my passion project.
Passion project,
Um,
there you go, you did the thing.
to 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 do at the moment. And so I did the 7, and then this year I've done Bolivia, Philippines, Taiwan,
Dude, that's so cool.
Madagascar, Seychelles, Mauritius, and United Arab Emirates.
So, I wanna dive into how you first got that idea for songwriting across the world. Like, what made that first pop up in your head, you know? Because I'm an artist myself, and I've never even considered something like that, so I love that you've just taken this giant leap, you know? Like, how did that come about?
So I realized, it's very difficult as a songwriter because it feels like everybody's in the same mode. I create the song, I create some content for the song, I release it. And I had traveled for years and I had lived abroad for years doing other things, not music related. But I got into music and playing because it actually saved a previous company I had. I was in deep debt. I started playing music. It paid for my debt and it raised me out of debt. And so I was like, okay, I'm supposed to do this. This is definitely a sign from the Lord. Let me continue down this path. And that led me to seeing a documentary about the white man in China. And it was a Vice documentary about people moving from the US to China and getting very well paid for doing certain jobs, specifically being butlers and being experts in things they weren't experts in. And so I was like, okay, let me just go and see. And I met a guy, he connected. By the time I landed in China, 3 days later, I was like full schedule, playing every day,
Wow.
making money, meeting all these other foreigners that were playing instruments and playing in bands and really talented people, Russians and Filipinos and um, English and Ukrainians and just people from around the world, Africans, all there playing playing music. And so when I would play, these instrument companies and stereo companies would show up and ask me to hold their guitar. Could I hold their guitar in the beginning? And they would give me like $20. And then
Whoa.
I would see the picture and I'm like, this is really crappy photo. And you're using this as your marketing. And so then I said, why don't you like if you're going to give me the guitar, why don't you give me the guitar, I'll take the photos. And then with some friends that kind of involved into let's go to these factories and ask them if they want us to create commercials for them. But to be honest, me and the other 2 guys did not want to live in China anymore. and we were trying to figure out how can we utilize what we've learned here and these relationships that we had and
Mhm.
go abroad other places. And so we sold them multiple different companies on this package idea. We did 26 countries in 6 months, and we would show up, we would find a local artist, we would film them, give them the video for free, and then turn around, take that video and give it to the Chinese company to use as marketing. And we would do like two versions. Like the ones we sent to the Chinese company had a lot more of the logos in it, and the ones for the artist was a little bit more subtle, not so
Mhm.
much commercial like. And it was amazing because we would just meet on artists in each country we went to. The Chinese, it's so strange, but they don't want Chinese people in their marketing scheme for some reason, like having another ethnicity in their videos makes it more appealing to the Chinese artist at that time. And so, yeah, it was very strange because, like, even if we tried to film someone Asian looking, they were like, no, we want, we want, we don't want that. So, that was very strange, but also beneficial to us because we just went to Europe, we went to the
Yeah.
States, and we were just filming people all over. And from that, me and the business partners at the time, I said, guys, we should really tell our story because I think that's more interesting to tell what we're doing. Like people
Yeah.
will be interested in that for the long run. And we had disagreements on how the business should be run in that sense because my partner at the time was like, no, we need to stick with commercials. But I could kind of see the writing on the wall, like commercials the way we were doing it was going to be phased out and we would hit our limit instead of. And so at that point I was like, I really want to tell my story about traveling and doing this, and then what would be the next level, like meeting these artists. And I always wanted to write with them but we wouldn't have time. So
Yeah.
then I just kind of went down that path of, okay, let me write with local artists, film it. I had told a friend at the time, this is what I want to do. He was all in. I found a videographer, he was all in. He took a huge pay cut to be like, let's do it. Let's do all 7 continents. And that's how it kind of began.
That is so cool. That is an amazing story. My goodness. I didn't
Thank
realize there
you.
was all this complexity that went into it, you know?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't just like waking up one morning and be like, hey, this is
Yeah.
possible. It was just kind of interesting. And I think that's how a lot of passion projects are, right? You're like, I don't to see like the ultimate goal is you
Yeah.
can see it, but you're like, how on earth do I get there? But it
Yeah.
was all these little pieces put into place
Mhm.
and skills that I learned along the way that were beneficial that at the time didn't feel beneficial.
Absolutely. That's actually something, that was, one of the, sermons that I heard recently was on, like, you don't know what skills that God's giving you that's gonna be beneficial 10, 15, 20 years down the road, 5 years down the road, and I think that's a really good example.
What? The video's already done! No! But don't worry, I got more videos on this channel. I got a lot more. So please check them out right here. But before you do that, make sure to click right here because you gotta subscribe to me. Do that, and then do that. Okay? Awesome. Full podcast out tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Peace.